Exodus chapter 30, verse 1 through 16. You shall make an altar on which to burn incense. You shall make it of acacia wood. A cubit shall be its length, and a cubit its breadth. It shall be square, and 2 cubits shall be its height. Its horns shall be of one piece with it. You shall overlay it with pure gold, its top around its sides and its horns, and you shall make a molding of gold around it. And you shall make 2 golden rings for it. Under its molding on 2 opposite sides of it you shall make them, and they shall be holders for poles with which to carry it. You shall make the poles of acacia wood and overlay them with gold. And you shall put it in front of the veil that is above the ark of the testimony, in front of the mercy seat that is above the testimony, where I will meet with you. And Aaron shall burn fragrant incense on it. Every morning when he dresses the lamps, he shall burn it. And when Aaron sets up the lamps at twilight, he shall burn it, a regular incense offering before the Lord throughout your generations. You shall not offer unauthorized incense on it, or burnt offering, or grain offering, and you shall not pour a drink offering on it. Aaron shall make atonement on its horns once a year. With the blood of the sin offering of atonement, he shall make atonement for it once in the year throughout your generations. It is most holy to the Lord. The Lord said to Moses, When you take the census of the people of Israel, then each shall give a ransom for his life to the Lord when you number them, that there be no plague among them when you number them. Each one who is numbered in the census shall give this, half a shekel according to the shekel of the sanctuary. The shekel is 20 gerahs, half a shekel as an offering to the Lord. Everyone who is numbered in the census, from 20 years old and upward, shall give the Lord's offering. The rich shall not give more, and the poor shall not give less than half the shekel, when you give the Lord's offering to make atonement for your lives. You shall take the atonement money from the people of Israel, and shall give it for the service of the tent of meeting, that it may bring the people of Israel to remembrance before the Lord, so as to make atonement for your lives. Today's passage gives instruction on the making of the altar for incense, and the offering of money that each Israelite ought to give for building the sanctuary. The altar for incense was placed close to the Ark of the Covenant, separated only by the veil. The incense was a fragrant aroma to the Lord that was to be lifted up by the priests for generations to come. The fragrant incense is a picture of the prayer of the saints that are lifted unto the Lord. Revelation chapter 5 verse 8 says, And when he had taken the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each holding a harp and golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of the saints. To build a sanctuary, all of Israel was to participate by giving half a shekel for personal atonement. Whether a person was rich or poor, they were to give this exact amount. The amount of money given was not what allowed for the atonement of sin. It was the willing heart to obey and participate in the building of the temple of the Lord that brought about the atonement. When Jesus bore our sin and died upon the cross, he asks us in a similar manner to participate in his suffering. Whether one is rich or poor, strong or weak, Jesus asks all those that have come to the saving grace of Christ to bear the very same cross that he bore. Matthew chapter 16 verse 24 and 25 says, Then Jesus told his disciples, If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Prayer and denying oneself, taking up the cross and following Christ, these are 2 essential attributes of a born-again Christian. What sets apart the true believers is a time spent daily lifting up prayer unto the Lord and living for the sake of Christ by carrying the cross in obedience to his will daily. Paul summarizes the life of prayer and carrying the cross in this way. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 16 through 18. Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. In whatever situation we're in, wherever God leads us in our lives, we're to give what God asks of us, which is our obedience to his will for our lives, and we're to do so by rejoicing, praying, and giving thanks. This is the fragrant aroma that God is pleased with, and this is the half shekel that God asks of all believers. As we meditate on today's passage, let us not grow weary, but always be willing to obey the will of God in Christ Jesus.